Matt Armstrong attempts to rebuild a wrecked Bugatti worth $6 million. Bugatti responds by locking the car's VIN and refusing to sell him parts. Whistling Diesel torches a Ferrari in a cornfield, films it, and watches it go viral. Months later, federal agents show up at his door. TJ Hunt spends months building a custom Mustang for SEMA, only to receive a cease and desist from Ford's lawyers days before the show. Tavares resurrects a flooded McLaren P1 from the wreckage of a hurricane, gets it fully rebuilt, and then can't start it, because McLaren controls the software. Something has fundamentally shifted in the automotive world. The creators who generate tens of millions of dollars in free advertising for these brands are suddenly finding themselves targeted with lawsuits, blacklists, and digital kill switches. And the question at the heart of all of it is surprisingly simple. When you buy a car, do you actually own it? The manufacturers have their reasons. They're protecting safety, preserving quality, defending brand value. But the creators see it differently. To them, this is about basic property rights, and they're being punished for exercising them. Here's how it unfolded, and what it means for anyone who has ever dreamed of building something with their own hands. Matt Armstrong built his name on YouTube by bringing totaled supercars back to life. So when a crashed Bugatti Chiron Per Sport, one of only 60 ever made, came up at salvage auction, it seemed like the ultimate project. The car was wrecked, but it was still a Bugatti, still worth saving. What Armstrong didn't anticipate was that the real obstacle wouldn't be the damage. It would be Bugatti itself. The company locked the car's VIN in its system and quietly instructed dealers not to sell him parts. But with a car like the Chiron, the problem runs deeper than sourcing hardware. Everything from transmission calibration to engine synchronization is governed by proprietary software only Bugatti can authorize. Without it, the car is exactly what it looks like, a very expensive statue. The only official option was to ship the car to Bugatti's factory in Molsheim, France, for a full factory restoration. The cost would have been staggering. Bugatti CEO Mate Rimac defended the decision, arguing that the Chiron is simply too complex to be properly repaired anywhere else, that only a handful of people in the world have the training and equipment to do it right.
And if you want to repair that properly, you can't do that in a garage. There's just a few places in the world with the right equipment and only a few people in the world with the right training to be able to do that.
Armstrong disagreed. For him, it wasn't just about one car. It was about proving that even the rarest machines deserve a second chance, regardless of what the manufacturer thinks. And this wasn't the first time he'd run into this wall. He had faced the same problem with a crash-damaged Aston Martin DB12 that had never even reached its original customer, just 39 miles on the clock, sent straight to salvage. Armstrong bought it, rebuilt it, and then hit a hard stop. The car had registered an electronic crash event and locked itself out. The engine simply wouldn't start. Only an authorized Aston Martin dealer could clear the fault and reauthorize the car to run. Two different brands, two different projects. The same conclusion. You can rebuild every physical component of a modern car, but the manufacturer still controls the final switch. At least Armstrong was trying to save something. Whistling Diesel did the opposite. In 2023, Cody Dwyer, the creator behind the Whistling Diesel channel, set a Ferrari F8 Tributo on fire in the middle of a cornfield and filmed the whole thing. The video pulled in over 16 million views. Ferrari was not amused. Then, in late 2025, Tennessee state agents arrived at Dwyler's home and arrested him on felony tax evasion charges. The allegation: he had registered the Ferrari through a Montana LLC to avoid paying Tennessee sales tax. It's a well-known loophole. Montana levies no sales tax, so registering a vehicle there, even if you live and drive it somewhere else, has become a popular workaround among high-end car buyers. On paper, this was a straightforward state tax matter. But the timing made people stop and think, why this case? Why with such force? Many in the car community believe Ferrari quietly encouraged authorities to pursue it, that this was less about tax compliance and more about sending a message to anyone who might think about making a spectacle out of their brand. Dwyer believes it too. He said publicly that the state wanted to make an example of him, and he posted footage of the arrest itself. No warning, no notice, just agents arriving and taking him in. Whether Ferrari was directly involved or not, the message landed clearly. If you publicly humiliate a brand like Ferrari, you may find more than angry comments waiting for you. Now out on bond and fighting the charges, Dweller has even joked about relocating to Montana. But the case leaves a much larger question hanging in the air. How far are these brands willing to go to protect their image? And are they prepared to use the legal system to do it? James Condon, better known as the Stradman, never burned anything. He just bought and sold cars, which turned out to be enough to get him in trouble. His channel, built on purple-wrapped supercars and near-constant vehicle swaps, made him one of the most watched automotive creators on the platform. But the same habit that built his audience, acquiring rare cars and flipping them quickly, quietly put him on the wrong side of some very powerful brands. Ferrari and Lamborghini are famously selective about who gets access to their limited production models. They prefer to sell to established collectors who will keep the cars long-term, not YouTubers who might wrap them in bright colors and list them for sale a few months later. Stradman's track record of rapid flips didn't sit well. The result was quiet but effective. His name reportedly disappeared from dealer allocation lists for special models like the Ferrari Icona series and the new Lamborghini Revuelto. No public announcement. No explanation. Just a name that stopped appearing. The scrutiny didn't stop there. In 2023, Stradman listed a 2023 Corvette Z06 on Cars and Bids. The listing indicated the car was unregistered and being sold with only the manufacturer's certificate of origin, meaning it had never been titled or taxed in his name before he sold it. That raised flags for potential title jumping, the practice of selling a vehicle without going through proper registration, often to sidestep taxes or fees, which is illegal in many states. It triggered an investigation into how the transaction was handled. Stradman later produced documentation showing sales tax had been paid and no charges were filed. But the episode illustrated something important. Car brands and state agencies are now paying close attention to exactly how these vehicles move through the ecosystem, not just who buys them, but how they're sold, when, and on what terms. Chevrolet had already warned early Z06 buyers that flipping the car could void the warranty or result in penalties. The message was becoming consistent across the industry. These aren't just cars anymore. They're managed assets, and the manufacturers intend to keep managing them. One of the most painful stories in this entire conflict belongs to Chris Steenbacher of the channel B is for Build. Steenbacher set out to recreate Eleanor, the iconic 1967 Mustang Fastback from the film Gone in 60 Seconds, as a tribute build starting from a 2015 Mustang GT. It was an ambitious project, documented in detail across his channel. What he didn't fully account for was that Eleanor isn't just a car. In the eyes of the law, she's a protected character, and her trademark is actively enforced by Denise Halicki, widow of the film's original creator. Partway through the build, Halicki's legal team sent a cease and desist. The project was ordered to stop. Steenbacher was required to surrender the car and all of its custom components, and he was forced to delete every video he had made documenting the build. Months of work, a significant financial investment, and one of his most ambitious projects simply vanished from the internet overnight. Whether or not Halicki's team had solid legal standing, and they likely did, the effect on Steenbacher was devastating. And for other creators watching, it was a warning shot. Intellectual property law doesn't just apply to logos and badges. It can reach into a garage and shut down a restoration that was never intended for profit at all. Few creators embody the spirit of independent building more than Tavarish. He's made a career out of taking on cars that most people would write off entirely, and his flooded McLaren P1 may be the most extreme example yet. The P1 is a $1 million hybrid hypercar, one of just 375 ever produced. His example had been submerged during Hurricane Ian. The physical rebuild alone was an extraordinary undertaking, but the real barrier, once again, turned out to be software. McLaren keeps its diagnostic systems and hybrid management tools tightly restricted to factory and authorized service channels. Critical functions, waking the hybrid battery, recalibrating the powertrain, bringing the high-voltage systems back online, require factory-level tools that simply aren't available to independent builders. Without access, the car sat for long stretches unable to charge, unable to start, and unable to function as anything other than a very expensive display piece. At one point, Tavares seriously considered removing the hybrid system entirely and converting the car to run on gasoline alone. That he even entertained that option tells you everything. He legally owned one of the rarest and most sophisticated cars ever built, and the only way to fully restore it was to get permission from the company that sold it. A company with no financial incentive to grant that permission and every incentive to keep its technology locked up. This was never just about individual creators getting into individual disputes with individual brands. It's about a systematic shift in what ownership means in the modern automotive world. As cars have become more software dependent, manufacturers have quietly retained a kind of ongoing control that simply didn't exist when vehicles were mechanical objects you could take apart and understand with your own hands. The creators in these stories didn't break any obvious rules. They bought things at auction, rebuilt them, modified them, filmed them. That used to be called ownership. Now, depending on the brand and the build, it can result in a cease and desist, a dealer blacklist, a supercharger ban, or a visit from state investigators. The brands have legitimate interests: protecting safety, maintaining quality standards, defending the value of intellectual property. These aren't manufactured concerns. But the way those interests are being enforced is creating something that looks less like consumer protection and more like permanent corporate control over objects that were sold and paid for. As vehicles continue to evolve, more software, more connectivity, more remote management capability, this tension isn't going away. It's going to intensify. And the outcome of these quiet fights, in courtrooms and comment sections and lines of proprietary code, will determine what it actually means to own a car in the decades ahead.